Welcome back to Living Tefillah, building block number 7. This particular section is going to focus completely on how do you teach each line, verse, pasuk, sentence in davening, in prayer, in a way that's really al pi darkei, that the children are engaged in understanding what they're davening. So I'm going to share with you a template. I'm going to give this template over to you as a teacher, but the real goal is that the children will be doing this template on their own. So let me share with you how the template looks. We're going to go through about 8 stages. They're very simple steps, and you can tweak this to the kids in your classroom. And I would honestly say that you will not do this probably in first grade. You probably do it somewhere in second or third or fourth for sure, because there the maturity of the children are able to grasp what it is you really want from them in building their ability to appreciate the depth in tefillah. So step number one is very simple. We're going to take one line at a time out of davening, and we're going to learn it be'iyun. How are we going to do that? In 7 steps. But you, the teacher, are not going to be doing the teaching. You're going to extrapolate from the children, al pi darkei, according to their way, according to their mind, according to their pace, according to their maturity and depth of penetration. You're going to draw out from them. They're going to reveal to you their understanding, but it's going to be with your guidance. You're still the Rebbe, you're still the Mora. So step number 1 is you'll start off with, let's say, the first words we say in our davening, Modeh ani. And you'll put that on the board, on a smart board, on a flip chart, and you'll write it all out as neatly as possible. Modeh ani lefanecha, melech hai v'kayam, shehechazarta bi nishmasi, behemla, rabbi munasecha. Once you've done that, you go to step 2. Let's translate every individual word in Modeh ani. You're going to have them tell you, Modeh, what is Modeh? Have we got that on our Shirashim cards? Where's that word come from? Oh, Haidar, what does Haidar mean? Oh, admit, very good. What else does it mean? Oh, it also means Haidar, which means gratitude. Okay, very good. Modeh, okay, means thank you. Good, we'll put that there. Ani, oh, I, fine. I thank you, or there's no thank you over here, it's just thank. I thank. Modeh ani lefanecha. What does lefanecha mean? So you know that's in the Shirashim cards. The children will know. Oh, panim is faces. Lefanecha means before your faces or in front of you. Okay, very good. We'll get to questions and problems with the way the words are written. We're going to get to that later. But right now we're just teaching each individual word. Modeh, thank you. Ani, I am, or I. Lefanecha, in front of you. Go to the next word, melech. All the kids will know the answer to that. King. Hi. So the kids should know this from the 3-on-3 vocabulary words, that the word chai actually translates correctly as alive. It doesn't mean life. There is no word. We've covered this before. The word chayim is always in plural and it means lives. And the word chai is not the singular version. It's an adjective, which means it's alive. So Oid Avinu chai, our father is still alive. Oid Yosef chai. Yosef is still alive. So chai means alive. Okay, melech, king. Chai, alive, v'kayam, and the children I think have on the 3-on-3 vocabulary cards. Kum means to get up or establish. Kayam really means, well, you get them to tell you. Does it mean established? Does it mean sustain? Still here? Whatever their taich is, you put it on the board above that word. So you got on top of the word Modeh, thank, ani, I, Lifanecha, in front of you, Melech, king, Chai, alive, Vikayam, and still exists or maintains or still here. Whichever taich they come up with, you put that on. Even if you got 2 or 3 different taiches for the same word, you can still put that on the board unless you know it's actually mistaken, because there's many words in English that you could taich this word into. Shehechazarta, what's the 3-letter root of Shechazarta? Oh, Chaza. What's Chaza mean? Now that's not actually part of the 3-on-3 Shirashim. We do have Shuv, which means return, but Chaza we don't have as a word which really means to review. Shechazarta, oh, you've returned. She, that, ta at the end, you, Chaza, returned. Oh, so you have returned. Be, in me, Nishmasi. Nishama means soul. Write that down on the board. Nishmasi, my soul. Write that down. Behemla. What is behemla? That's probably a new word. The kids might not know it. In which case you can help them. Chemla is a very powerful word. It's not that frequent in Tanakh, but it does come up. You'll find it in Tehillim a number of times. The word compassion might be a good translation. However, that's usually the translation for rachamim. The word chemla is actually going beyond even rachamim. So you tell the children this is a new word for us, and chemla refers to something that's completely not owed to us, and we're in a sticky situation, and b'chemla, Hashem kind of rescues us. That's really an enormous leap beyond even mercy, beyond even rachamim, beyond compassion. So you might want to translate the word chemla as rescue or compassionate in the extreme. Rabba emunasecha. Rabba, abundant, increase, a lot, tremendous. Emunasecha. Emuna, means conviction, certainty, trustworthy. Emunasecha. What does cha at the end of the word? Point to the yellow banner where it says cha on the you family. So step one, you put the sentence on the board or smart board or flip chart, whichever technology you're using. Number two, you translate each individual word. Number three, identify any words that are new. We just did that. We looked at the word chemla. That's probably not a word that they're used to. So you're going to give them the taich or teach them where to find that word. I think we had another word, shechazarta, from the word chazara. They probably know what the word chazara means to review or return, go back to the same place and review it again. So chazarta, it's ta at the end is on the blue banner. So you returned. That you returned be in me. Those are probably the only two words that are completely new. So that's step three. Step four, now we string it all together into a readable sentence. And you ask the children, okay, how shall we put this together? Modeh ani, I thank you. Lifanecha. Well, we don't have the you there, but lifanecha means in front of you. So I thank in front of you. Should we make that a little bit more flowy? I thank you. You can leave it that. Or I thank in front of you. That's fine. Or I thank to your faces, which is the exact literal translation, which will force us when we get to the next steps to realize there's problems in the translation, not necessarily translation, but the construction of the word that when we translate it accurately will bring out questions. You see, I'm going to stop just for a second so that you, the teacher, understand that what we're doing here is we're getting the children in step by step to pay attention to the words, their taich, their meaning, the context, any grammatical problems we're going to come up with in a few moments, any apparent spelling inconsistencies. We're going to come up with all that, but what you're really doing is you're getting the kids to pay attention to the words of their daily tefillah. And then we're going to get to the questions we're going to ask that's going to bring out of the children the hashkafa and the messages that are contained in this case, Modeh ani. I'm giving you a 7-8 step template of how to teach a pasuk sentence from davening that eventually, when I say eventually, after 3, 4, 5 times you've done this with the kids, you give them the assignment. They know the 8 steps, they do it themselves. They can do this on their own, or b'chavrusa, they can go through all these steps, and what they're really doing is an iyun. They're analyzing the davening and build their relationship to the words that every day they're saying anyway. Okay, so let's move on to number 4. String this together into a meaningful sentence, into a sentence that flows, a readable sentence. So I thank you, or I thank Hashem in front of you. Melech, king, chai, alive v'kayam, and still here. Shehazata, that you returned, be in me, bechemla, with extra compassion. Rabbe emunasecha, abundant is your emunah, is your trustworthiness, or is your conviction. If you just want to keep it with the word emunah, you can keep it with the word emunah, but it's not the taich we're going to be really looking for over here. It's an understanding of the messages contained in the words. So don't worry about being super meticulous with the exact taich, even though it does matter, but we're not going to be learning davening from the taich. We're learning davening from Lashon HaKodesh. We're learning davening from the original language. We just want to make sure that new words like chemla are translated correctly so that we know what we're saying, and now we can platform off that into an intelligent discussion as to the meaning of the words and the messages that are being imparted by these words. Okay, so you're ready for step number 5. In step number 5, now you're going to ask the children, do you have any questions in this sentence? Or number 1, any of the spelling of the words that's unusual? Number two, anything unusual about the grammatical structure of the sentence, the grammar, or the structure itself of the words. So looking at Modeh Ani, I don't think that we can find anything that's really going to create a red flag with regard to spelling. That's number one. Number two, the grammar. So that's actually interesting. And three, the structure. Well, look carefully. Modeh Ani, I am grateful. I am admitting. I'm thank youing. Or you might get the kids to realize that one way you can accurately translate Modeh Ani is I am a thank youer. That's actually what it means. That's one of its meanings. And I've had a kid who actually said that. Modeh Ani is in present tense, so you're actually saying I am a thank youer. And that's a great statement the kid is making, because now you can ask the next question is, oh, that's interesting. Where do we see that in the essence of a Jew that we are about being grateful? Where do we see that? And if they don't cut where you're going with that question, make the question a little bit more guided, so you guide their minds to the answer you're looking for, which is the following. What names do the Jewish people have? Jews are called Ivri, from Lashon Ava, Passover. Why are we called Passoverers? That's what we are. Ivri. An Ivri is someone who passes over. So Avram Avinu was an Ivri. He was on the other side of the river, but he was also on the other side of the world, and everyone else was on the other side, all against him. He was the only monotheist, the only one saying God is one. Everyone else is arguing. Oh, so an Ivri, we stand alone on the other side. What else? What's another name of a Jew? Oh, Yehudi. Oh, very good. So another name for a Jew is Yisrael. That's not a discussion for now. You just want to pull out of the children that there's really four names that we have: Yeshurun, Yisrael, Ivri, and Yehudi. That's the one you want to focus on, because that's the one that's related to the word Modeh. Oh, Yehudi is a Jew from Shevet Yehuda. But the Shoresh, the three-letter root of Yehudi, is Haidah, which means grateful, gratitude. Modeh Ani, I'm a thank youer. So the essence of a Jew, of a Yehudi, is that we are grateful. What are we grateful for? Well, there's lots of answers to that question, but I'm just showing you how you want the children to start paying attention to the words and the structure of the words, the grammar, the spelling, to start realizing there's a lot flying over here. Modeh Ani really means we have started the day. The very first two words we declare is a statement of our identity, our essence. We are here to be thank youers. We're here to be grateful. What are we grateful for? Asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim. Oh yeah, you selected us from all the other nations to serve you, Hashem, through your Torah, to daven to you. So you can have the kids come up with what are we grateful for. But don't get into much discussion right now, because we're in step 5, where we just want to identify, are there any inconsistencies in the spelling or the grammar or the structure of this sentence, of this particular line? In some cases, it will be actually a pasuk that's part of davening. We'll get to that when we do Pesukei de Zimra. But right now, number 5, any questions, children, on the way the words are structured? Melech Hai V'Kayam. Any questions you have with that? Shechazata bi nishmasi Behemla. Where does Behemla belong? Oh, Behemla is part of that same sentence. Oh, so you with extra compassion return to me, my soul. Okay, very good. Rabbe Emunasecha. Abundant is your emunah. Any questions on that? Well, if they don't ask you any questions, ask them. Well, who's declaring emunah over here? Hashem or us? We are. We're declaring our conviction, our certainty that you, Hashem, are trustworthy to return our neshama every morning. So what's the trustworthiness of you, Hashem? If this is talking about our emunah, it should be Rabbe Emunasenu. Great is our emunah. What do you mean great is your emunah? What do you have to have emunah in Hashem? And that becomes a platform. We're not looking for the answers right now. We're just digging into the pasuk to let the pasuk reveal its own questions. And in that, we're going to explore the possible answers together with the class. You as a Rebbe might want to actually look at certain Sfarim. It could be Oitzah Tfilas. It could be Rab Shimon Schwab on Tefila. It could be a number of different Sfarim that you might be using as your research behind the psukim that or the verses, the sentences that you are learning with the children, but I'm just giving you right now the template that enables the children to notice, oh, Rabba emunah secha, great is your emunah. We're talking to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What do you have emunah in, Hashem? So that's a question, and we're going to explore it. Okay, step number 6. The way I'm explaining this to you is much slower than it takes to really do with the kids. You should go through this very quickly. Don't get too bogged down into details. You really want to get through these steps ASAP, because once you get to 6, 7, and 8, what's really going to happen is that now the children take over. So at number 6, you're going to ask the kids, if you look at this sentence, Modeh ani lefanecha, from beginning to end, and ask yourself, how many messages are there in this sentence? So you'll take this entire line and break it up. Modeh ani, is that a separate point? Lefanecha, or do you want to put that together? Modeh ani lefanecha, okay? So we might have that as one line. Line number 2, which I'm calling line number 2, but really it's a message. Melech hai v'kayam. So I'm not saying there's a right answer here. This is what the kids will come up with. Let them decide how they want to break down, divide this sentence into messages, separate messages in the same line. So Modeh ani lefanecha, okay, that kind of I think goes together. Melech hai v'kayam. That's already now describing HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I've got away from the Modeh ani. I'm being grateful. I'm a thank youer in your presence, in front of you. And who's you? Now we go into a description of you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Melech, Chai, V'Kayam. You might want to put Kayam as separate. I had one kid who said he wants Kayam as separate because he feels that the word Chai, alive, and then Kayam is not the same as Chai. It's really telling you something different. So he wanted it as a separate message. And that's fine. There's no right or wrong over here. I'll repeat that. There's no right or wrong. This is getting the kids' minds to explore, investigate, let their curiosity open up and realize, you know what, you can dig anywhere in the Chamisha Chumshei Torah. You'll find treasure. You can dig anywhere in Tefila. It was written Baruch HaKodesh, in which case there's going to be treasure wherever you dig. It doesn't matter where you dig. So if you want to divide this into 3, 4, 5, 6 parts, they're all right. Because the way you're going to structure this, you're going to find treasure anyway. So some will say, Modeh ani lefanecha. Number 2, Melech hai v'kayam. And others will say, no, Melech hai goes on its own, Kayam goes on its own. Others might say Melech stands on its own and Chai v'Kayam goes on its own. You'll see what we're going to do this in a few moments. Shechazata bi nishmasi. Some might say let's put that as one separate message. Others might say no, Bechemla is an adjective with great compassion, extra compassion, that's describing Hashem returning my soul to me. So let's put that all on one line. Okay, Shechazata bi nishmasi, Bechemla. Now, Rabba Emunasecha stands alone. So what's the purpose of what we've just done in step number 6? Once you have broken in this case it's not a verse, it's a sentence, into parts, you're organizing the words, you're bunching them, you're categorizing. And by that way you are helping the children pay attention to the messages that are coming out of Modeh ani. So now you've got message number 1, Modeh ani lefanecha. Message number 2, Melech hai v'kayam. Message number 3, Shechazata bi nishmasi. Number 4, Bechemla. Rabba Emunasecha is number 5. If some kids want to make this into 6 parts, that's fine. There's no right or wrong. This is just a platform for the children going be'iyun, identifying details that they're now going to be able to pay attention to because they've organized this sentence into 5 categories. Step number 7 is where I believe it starts to get kind of really interesting, and that's the following. What you're now going to do is ask a very simple question. In message number 2, where it says, Melech Chai V'Kayam, what is being added in message number 2 that you don't have in number 1? Get the kids to figure this out. What is number 2, line number 2, message number 2, in the Modeh ani, adding to line number 1 that's not included in line number 1? So when I say Modeh ani lefanecha, who am I talking to? So you can guess, of course, I'm talking to Hashem. But you haven't said so. So what's number 2 adding that I don't see in number 1? Oh, so now I'm really talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu directly. Why are we calling him Melech? What does that mean? Now, they probably know already, we've covered this in the previous DVDs on Living Tefillah. We went through key vocabulary words in davening, including the word Melech. So Melech means king, as in the sense of being in control. So Melech, you are in control. You're king who's in control. Chai, you're alive. Kayam, everlasting. Kiyum, always here. What's the difference between Chai and Kayam? And get the kids to talk this through. Because there is a difference. What does Chai mean? Alive. Oh, so it's happening now, right now. Kayam means what? Oh, it's always existed? Kiyum means existence. Kiyum means maintenance. HaKadosh Baruch Hu always existed. It's not just every single moment now. It's in the past and into the future. Oh, and Kayam means that you have always been this way, in control. Oh, so what we're saying is, I thank before you, the king who's always in control, who's relevant now and always was. Shechazarta. Now I'm getting to line number 3. What's in line number 3 that you returned in me, my neshama? What's in that line number 3 that's not in line number 2 or number 1? Do you follow the question? I'll go through this again. What's in line number 2 that's not in line number 1? And what's in line number 3 that's not in number 2 and number 1? Well, you're helping the kids. It's almost like a Gemara cop. You're getting the kids to pay attention to the way there's a build-up. What's going on in these words? So that the kids start to notice, oh, I'm being very specific in my identifying who I'm grateful to. And we're not calling HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yud Kei Vav Kei or Elokeinu. We're calling him Melech, in control. Chai, he's relevant in my life right now. He's alive. He's everywhere all the time, because that's what Lefanecha really means. In front of you. Where's not in front of you? Everywhere's in front of you. Oh, so wherever I wake up in the world and I say Lefanecha, you are there. And you're Chai, you're alive. You're in my life, relevant all the time. Vikayam, you always have been. You are consistent. Maybe that's a good translation. If you want to put that as consistent as the translation. You are alive and consistent. You're consistently in existence all the time. Always was and will be. Shechazata bi nishmasi. Now we get to what we originally started off saying thank you for. So you might get the kids to notice that if we left out line number 2 and we went from number 1 straight to number 3, would you have had a problem? Or would it have actually flowed better? Modeh ani lefanecha, shechazarta bi nishmasi. I'm telling you exactly what I'm grateful for. So some kids will say, no, because I need to know who you're being grateful to. So we need Melech Chai v'Kayam. Okay, but all you're getting is the kids to pay attention to what they're saying. And we're going to bring out the messages that are going to come out in just a few moments. Bechemla, with tremendous compassion. So you might bring some examples, if you've researched this, of where the word chemla really means HaKadosh Baruch Hu is rescuing a person from almost death. That's what chemla really means. You look at the Radak in Tehillim, consistently uses that type of terminology. So over here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when I went to sleep last night, did I have a contract with you that forces you to wake me up this morning? Yes or no? No. Okay, so why am I awake this morning? Oh, because you woke me up. How did you wake me up? Oh, you returned my neshama. So without my neshama, I'm not alive? Correct. Okay, but I'm alive while I'm asleep, right? That's true. I don't want to get into too much detail about which part of you is alive. Oh, there's a part of the neshama called the nefesh, which remains in the body, but actually the neshama does leave the body and reports to HaKadosh Baruch Hu all that took place in the last, call it 24 hours since I've been awake. And now, when it returns to my body, I am totally awake. I'm completely revived. I've got my battery recharged. I've got energy to serve you for another day. Was that owed to me? Do you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, owe me anything? Just keep asking the kids questions that are platformed off these words. Is this making sense? I want you, the teacher, to realize that there's no right wrong over here. There's no right wrong answers. It's all about getting the kids to explore the words. So that if you want to call this Iyun Tefillah, which is not I wouldn't necessarily call it that. It's really more getting the kids to pay attention to the words they're saying and them come up with the chidushim that are in the words. It's treasure island. Wherever you dig, you're going to find treasure. So chemla you might want as a separate point. What is the word chemla in line number 4, adding that I don't see in number 3, 2, and 1? Oh, chemla means with extra compassion. So it's really totally not owed to me on any level. God, you owe me nothing. I owe you everything. Oh, so when my soul returns to me in the morning, whoa, I owe you big time because I had no contract with you when I went to sleep last night. Some people don't wake up the next morning. Rahman al-Islam. Oh, so when I wake up, that's the biggest demonstration that you, Rabban Shleilam, want me here. Haraya, what's the proof? You woke me up. If you woke me up, that means you haven't given up hope in me, right? So what's Rabba Emunasecha, number 5 on our breakdown of messages? What's the message in great is your emunah? Your emunah in what? Oh, in me. Because you woke me up. Why did you wake me up? Because you have emunah that I can change. I can improve. I can serve you today. I can do teshuvah. I can improve on my mistakes that I've made in my marriage, with my children, with my co-workers, with my boss, and with my chavrusa. I can be more sensitive towards my parents, more appreciative to my husband, more respectful to my wife. You haven't given up hope in me, so Rabba emunasecha, great is your emunah in me. And the proof is you woke me up. Okay, so those are the 7 steps so far. Is it clear? Number 7 over here is you break it down and compare the parts. Rabbi Skast, who taught me this method in how to take either a pasuk, in this case, words from Tefila, and break it down into parts and then compare each other, it's just such a simple, elegant, and I would say brilliant way for children to organize the different messages. And the way he put it, Rabbi Skast put it this way: imagine you woke up in the morning and you remember that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you something last night. And what he told you was Modeh ani till Rabba emunasecha, and you're thinking, what messages did HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell me in that dream when he said those words to me? And now you break it down into however many parts, 4, 5, 6 different parts, and now ask, what is part 2 adding to part 1? What is part 3 adding that part 2 and 1 have not told you? So that you start to understand how the words are unfolding and opening up new messages. Number 8 of this, and this is very exciting in my personal opinion, but really no, it gets exciting because you're teaching the children how to do this on their own. After you've done this 3, 4, 5 times max with different parts of davening, the kids, once you give them the template, you show them the stages, the steps, they can do this themselves. And that's exciting because now they're independent. You remember from the Hashkafa series, the whole purpose of teaching our children is to help them become independent. And that you do by giving them the tools to learn by themselves.